Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today, I finally read Cows by Matthew Stokoe. This is the extreme horror book that I said I will never read because it's about cows. I knew something was gonna go wrong. Okay, you know, I'm a huge animal lover and stuff, and I was like, oh, this will probably be the book that I'll never read. But you know, throughout the year, I've been reading extreme horror for about a year now, and throughout the past year, I just feel like I have become so desensitized to the point where nothing bothers me anymore. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna read Cows, and I read it, and I have thoughts. So stay tuned, okay? The first part of this video, I'm just doing like a non-spoiler reaction to the book, and that like I normally do, and then the rest of this video, I am going to spoil the entire book. So if you don't want to read it because you're like me and you're like, or you're like me in the past and you're like, I am never going to read this book, there's no way, but you're still curious as to what happens, watch spoilers. Or if you've already read this book and you want to hear me freak out, then just keep watching because I got some things to say, okay? And if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe because I post extreme horror videos all the time. I'm an extreme horror girly now, so subscribe so you don't miss any extreme horror videos. I'm really bad at this. Okay, goodbye. I'm only 20% in and I'm already traumatized. Nothing has even happened yet and I'm traumatized. So we're following this guy Steven, and he lives with his abusive mom, and she feeds him like rancid, undercooked meats all the time. And she's like horribly abusive. She's an animal abuser. He has this dog that he loves, and she broke its legs for no reason. Just a terrible, terrible woman, right? And he's 25 and he just got a job working at this meat processing plant. And wow. For the non-spoilers, I'm just gonna leave it at that so far. And now we're learning like the people that work there are fucking crazy. Like completely insane. And Steven, you know, throughout this book so far, he has these like visions of what a perfect life would be like if he had a normal life, if he had a wife that loved him, and you know, they had, you know, kids and lived in this white picket fence, you know what I'm saying? And it's like he is depressed all the time, and he looks at other people and sees like how normal they look, and he wants to be normal as well. And it hit me right in the feels. Like that is exactly how I feel every day of my life. I constantly am comparing myself to other people and like wishing I had a quote unquote normal life, even though that's like not realistic, okay? But you know, depression just does that to you. And so far I'm like, okay, this guy Steven got me right in the feels, right? And the writing, I must admit, like I was expecting some like crappy ass writing. I'm not gonna lie. I was just expecting like crappy writing and disgusting imagery. And honestly, like this writing is really good. It's like beautifully written so far. It's not overwritten, but it's like, just like well written. You can picture everything. It's easy to read, but at the same time I'm like, huh, this doesn't read like other extreme horror books where like honestly the writing isn't that good, but it's just all gore and plot and no tea, no shade. but that is a lot of books in extreme horror. This doesn't feel like that. That's as far as I've gotten so far. I'm 29% into this book, and what is happening right now? I can't. I'm like, actually, this is so bad. I'm gonna throw up. What the fuck? What the fuck? I'm speechless right now. I don't know what to say. Why? Oh my God. No. There's something about shit that I just cannot do. I can't do feces. Oh my God. This scene where I'm going to get into this in the I'm going to get into this in spoilers, but the scene where all the guys, what they do to the cows. Why, Matthew? For what fucking purpose? I can't. It's okay. I'm living, laughing, loving, having a great time. It's okay. I'm just, yeah, I just have no words. I'm at 40%. I have no words. I can't formulate thoughts because I am just like this the whole time. Why? Matthew, why? Someone get me in touch with Matthew. I need to ask him why. Okay, so it's later in the day. It's after work. It's 5:30. So I got 60% of the way through Cows, and I have some conflicted feelings. I like it. And I was really into it, like the first, I don't know, 40%. I was like, oh my God, this is completely insane and disgusting. There are so many graphic extreme horror scenes in here, and just so many disgusting things that have happened involving feces. Oh my God. Oh my God, I can't do it. I cannot do the poop thing, okay? And then there was a very graphic animal cruelty scene, like probably one of the worst I've ever read. That happened. And then other than that, like there are some parts of this book that are a little bit too like artsy fartsy for me, like art house horror kind of thing, and that's just not my thing. I don't care about the artsiness of books. I don't want to analyze them. I just don't care. So yeah, that's just me. But I mean, I do like it, and there are a lot of deeper hidden meanings and metaphors in this book surrounding mental health and striving for this like normal, perfect life, but you're never quite fulfilled, if that makes sense. But anyways, I do kind of low-key enjoy the poop scenes. I'm not gonna lie. Okay, so final thoughts before we get into spoilers. I finished Cows. It's Saturday. I finished it Thursday night in one day, and oh my gosh, I don't know how to feel. I like it, but at the same time, there were a lot of things that I didn't like. I just feel like it got a little bit too weird for me, which is something that like I've talked about on this channel before. I am not super into like the super weird, goofy, extreme horror, like artsy stuff. It's not really my thing. It's like I like it and I appreciate it for what it is, but if it were up to me, I would just be reading about like real life crap, you know? So it did get into this like super weird territory. I was just not a fan of where it went. But this does have beautiful writing and some of the best written gore I have ever read in my life. Just like, not even gore, like just disgusting descriptions of things that I've ever read in my life. You saw me, I was literally gagging while I was reading this. It was a wild time. You know, there are extensive trigger warnings for this book. Look them up. Very severe depictions of animal cruelty and fecal matter. So if those things trigger you, maybe stay away from this one. But yeah, overall, it's like, I really liked the first half. I thought it was solid, and then the second half lost me a lot. So I had to deduct some points. So overall, I went with a 3-star rating for this book. You know, I'm glad that I finally read it. I'm glad that I finally know what it's about, and I can move on with my life now. Matthew Stokoe, if you ever come across this video, you are a sick fuck, okay? And I mean that in the nicest way possible. Okay, so I don't really know what else to say that isn't a spoiler. So I think we're just gonna go ahead and jump right in to spoilers. And I am just going to try to summarize this entire book for you, start to end. So if you want spoilers, just keep watching. If you don't, go ahead and click away, read the book, and then come back to me. Okay. Spoilers. I have a whole freaking notes section on my phone, as per usual. So we are following, like I said, we're following this guy, Steven, right? And he lives with his abusive mom, and she's constantly feeding him rancid meat, like rancid, disgusting, spoiled meats. Why? I don't know how they've been eating this meat for so long, because I'm pretty sure they would have been dead by now. They also have this dog, and she broke the dog's legs. She's a horrible animal abuser. Broke the dog's legs, and the dog is paralyzed. So I think he only uses like his front paws to walk. And this is like the only thing that Steven loves in this world. You know, he's insanely depressed. He's constantly watching these TV shows like The Brady Bunch and shit like that. And he's like, oh, I wish that I had a normal life. And so we get into his head, and he has these thoughts of like, oh, you know, like he's fantasizing about getting married and having kids and owning a house with a white picket fence and, you know, like the perfect life. And he just like wants to be normal, which I felt so hard. Like I felt that deep into my heart, my non-existent heart. I always look at other people and wish that I was normal, but I'm not, okay? And I have a feeling a lot of people do that, which is easy to do when you're on social media and everything is fake on there. So then he gets this job working at this like meat processing plant, like a slaughterhouse. And he starts meeting these like crazy men that work there. There's this one guy called Gummy, and he has his mouth like ripped open and it's all like up. And then he tells him this story about how he was making out with a cow, and the cow like bit him and ripped his face off, and now his face is hanging all over the place. So already I'm like, what is wrong with this place? There must be something in the air that all these people are nuts. And then there's this other guy, Cripps, who works there. He's kind of like, reminds me, and he's like a gang leader. Like he's just like the head of the place, and like he just demands that people do crazy shit and everyone listens to him. He's kind of like a cult leader. I don't know. So, you know, we're kind of just flipping back and forth between him working at the slaughterhouse and then his abusive mom doing all kinds of crazy shit. She said that she used to work on a goose farm and rip their necks off and stick them up her I don't know why I'm laughing. I'm laughing because I'm uncomfortable. Okay. And then we also get introduced to Lucy, who is my favorite character, and she lives upstairs in the building that they live in. And Michael, who am I talking about? Steven sees her, and he wonders if he can like be in a relationship with her and start a normal life with her. She's like the only woman that he knows, I guess. I don't know. But Lucy's kind of up, And Lucy is constantly talking about the poison inside of you. She's like, oh, everyone has this poison inside of them, and I have this poison inside of me and I can't get it out. And when you slaughter the cows, do you look inside their organs and look for the poison? Have you found it? She's like obsessed with finding poison, which is like a metaphor for, you know, like mental illness and all the shit that we keep inside, trauma and things that just don't resolve as humans, like the shittier side of humanity. Am I making any sense? She's a crazy bitch, and she has a whole ass colonoscopy set in her place. And she takes this scope out, an endoscope, she sticks it up her. She's looking around in there to see if she can find the poison, and while she's doing that, Stephen her. Hot. Love that. I ship them. Stephen decides that he wants to, you know, be in a relationship with Lucy and live with her, and the only way that he is going to be able to do that is if his mom is not in the picture. So he sets out on this mission to, like, his mom, basically. So then, meanwhile, at the slaughterhouse, this guy Cripps is, like, ordering everyone to do all this crazy and turns out, like, all the workers there have been having sex with the cows and doing all kinds of things to these cows. And we find more and more in depth what is going on there. There's a scene where Cripps demands Stephen to this cow to, like, learn how to be one of the slaughtering people. Slaughterers. What word am I looking for? I don't know. But while Stephen is this cow, Cripps R-words him up the butt while he's this cow. He cow, and then Cripps is like, oh great, you can be a slaughterer now, and you know, the more you do it, the more desensitized you'll become, and like you get better at it and this and that. But then the guys show him what they do to these cows, and basically they take a cow and they take this device that's similar to an apple corer, cut holes all over the cow, and then they stick the in the holes, and the cow while it's still alive. That was the most horrific animal cruelty scene I think I've ever read in my life. Like, I was about to throw up. So yeah, that happened. I just could not believe what the fuck I was reading. I was like, why? How are this many people into this? Like, I didn't realize that was this big of a thing, let alone cutting holes in a cow and I can't even think about this. At this point I was like, what the reading? Then the part that really got me, the part where I was like almost puking. So then, you know, Stephen's on this mission to kill his mom, so he takes and says, oh, I'm gonna cook dinner tonight, and serves on a platter, and she eats it, and he eats it. Why? 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 I don't think anyone in their right mind would be doing this. I mean, there are people out there who eat poop, but like this month, every night they were eating together, and that's it. Even thinking about it, I'm going to throw. I can't do poop. I cannot do fecal matter, which is funny because like I work in a nursing home. I've wiped so many butts. And the litter box, ugh. Anyways, I can't even. This was the part where I was puking. I don't know. Okay, moving on. So then he goes back to work the next day, and he hears the cows talking to him. Now, I thought that this was like a hallucination or some shit, because I was like, there's just no way, obviously. I was like, yeah, he's probably hallucinating from eating nothing but feces for days. Like, what the hell? So anyways, these cows are talking to him, and they're like, you know, talking about the cruelty that goes on and how it's not fair to them, and how they have these underground tunnels. They take him on this ride to these like underground tunnels where the cows live to get away from the people, and they basically said they are on a mission to Cripps. But Stephen's like, whatever, I don't want to get involved. And a few days later, Cripps has him gummy, and he like sticks this, I forget what he did. He stuck this thing up his then cut him from the all the way up and then ripped his guts out. I don't know. After the talking cow, this book was a blur to me. Apparently talking cows is where I draw the line. Like, I don't have trigger warnings unless you're involving a talking cow. Then I'm lost. So then shortly after that, you know, he goes home and his mom beats him up. His mom is like, bitch, I know you've been eating me shit because you're trying to me and I'm stronger than you. And so she beats the crap out of him. And then the dog, this poor, sweet, innocent dog, comes over and like bites her in the neck to get her to stop. And she takes the dog, bashes its head into the wall, bashes its brains out, and dog. The other horrific animal cruelty scene that I was literally about to cry over because I love dogs so much. Like, I love animals so much. And this scene, I was not okay. At this point, I was like, oh my God, what the f? What the f? Matthew Stokoe, what the f? So then after she does that, Michael grabs this like piece of wood and stabs her in the neck and then holds her down, and he kills mom. And how he kills her, no, it's not by strangling her. It's by opening her mouth and doing a human centipede and diarrhea into her mouth while she's held down, and she chokes and dies and suffocates on his. Imagine the obituary for that one. There's nothing I want more than for that to be in the local paper and the local news. So yeah, anyways, now the mom's laying there dead. Lucy comes over and she's all excited. Oh, can I dissect her so I can find the poison? There has to be poison in her because she's an evil bitch. So Lucy cuts her up into a million pieces looking for this poison, and of course doesn't find anything. So Lucy moves in and they try to start this like normal relationship, and she finds out that she's pregnant. Now, back at the slaughterhouse, Stephen decides that he is going to Cripps. The cows really want to kill him, and you know, he's talking to the cows and he's like, no, I want to do it. I want to be the one that kills him. Because now he's becoming desensitized to all these killings. Now he just doesn't care anymore. You know, like he's just on this crazy mission. So in order to Cripps, he, you know, has to go along with Cripps's plan to this cow, to get it to look like, you know, nothing is suspicious, like, oh yeah, we're friends. So they go and cow together, and Cripps takes the brain out of the cow, the two pieces, and the brain, and then when he it's covered in red fluids. This video is gonna get demonetized. Like, I'm literally, the FBI is gonna show up at my house one of these days for the things that I talk about on here. It's gonna take me an hour to edit this. So then Stephen takes a gun, him in the leg, and then like him and rips him apart, and all the cows are there watching and kind of like cheering him on. Excuse me, I had to do another hair flip. Okay. So, you know, he's becoming more and more desensitized to all this violence, and he keeps. These cows are just a mess now. They're all like restless and anxious because their one mission was to Cripps, and now Cripps is dead and they kind of don't know what to do with themselves. This is where things got really weird, and I don't know, things started getting really downhill for me from here because I just thought it was weird. Like, it was just into this territory where it was too weird for me. So I was kind of lost. I don't understand what the purpose of this was, but Stephen tells the cows that like they're gonna go on this raid and rob this place. So I don't know, they like break into this place and the cows everyone, and then they steal all this money and they're all excited, and then a female cow, aren't all cows female unless they're bulls? Well, yeah, this cow tells Steven, I want you to me. So he the cow and then compares the cow's to Lucy's, and then all the cows are cheering them on while they're If my boyfriend had sex with a cow and compared it to me, I think I'd be a little bit offended. I don't know. So, yeah, long story short, he tries teaching the cows how to become like men. He makes them eat human flesh, and it's like the roles are reversed, you know? Like, we eat cows, so now he's making the cows eat us, and so on and so forth. You know, so back at home, Lucy is like, well, what the is the point of being together? Because, you know, we're trying to have this normal life and this normal family. I'm not normal. You're not normal. We both come from trauma, abuse. We're both messed up mentally. So, like, obviously our kid is going to be messed up. And this is not what, like, a normal family is like. And all these normal families and normal people are normal because they had normal childhoods and upbringings. How many times can I say normal in a sentence? Take a shot every time I just said normal. Just kidding, you might die. So she's like, what the hell is the point of all of this? I'm not even sure if we should be together. I don't even want to have a kid with you. So when she's home alone, she takes a knife, I forget what it was, but she cuts herself from the to the and tries to get the baby out, but that doesn't work. So then she cuts her stomach and gives herself a C-section, takes the baby out, and then she dies from blood loss. Obviously, the fetus is also dead. So Steven comes home and finds this, and he's all depressed. He takes the fetus and nails it to the wall, and then takes the dog and stuffs it inside of Lucy because they're the only things that he's ever loved. At this point, I was like, what the fuck? I actually was living for this. This book completely lost me with the talking cows, and then the, whatever this was, I was so invested. What does that say about me as a person? I don't know. The talking cows are where I draw the line. The fetus stuff is where I do not, apparently. Then he goes to the city and he's walking around and he sees, you know, all these normal people on the streets, and he's comparing himself to them again, and he's just like, what the hell? Like, I can't fit in with these people. And it was so, like, that scene felt so relatable to me because I always feel like I'm just so weird and too much for people. And then, like, I have social anxiety in person, so it's like, I just always feel like I'm not gonna fit in, I'm not normal enough, like, I'm just weird, and then I worry that people aren't going to like that about me. And I think that's why I'm so, like, crazy on YouTube, because it allows me to fully be myself, and then the people that like that and want to be my friend are my friends, you know? Whereas in person, it's a little bit harder to navigate when you're as crazy as I am. So I've always struggled with, like, making friends and stuff like that. So this part of the book, I was so connected to it because I felt it deep in my soul, you know? So he's like, okay, well, I can't fit in with these people. So he has a mental breakdown and he's like, what am I gonna do with my life? And he ends up back with the herd of cows at the end, and he ends up the main cow, and they get into this fight, and then he ends up becoming the head of the cows at the end. The leader of the cows. So yeah, that's the summary of Cows. I hope you enjoyed. I'm not really good at, like, analyzing books. I've said this before. So if you want someone that actually, like, breaks it down and analyzes, like, the metaphors and stuff, check out McKay's video. Yeah, he's just, you know, much more smarter than I am. But this book was a wild time and is one of the very few books that almost made me throw up. Like, you've seen me gag today, and normally I don't do that. Normally I disassociate and it's fine, but this book fucked me up. So yeah, I'm happy that I read it. Only a little bit traumatized, and yeah, that's Cows. That's the story of Cows. So yeah, if there are any other like videos like this you want me to film, let me know, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!